lot of people probably know the Zone of the Enders series as those games they bundle with Metal Gear demos to get them to sell. Hell, half the games released were sold with Metal Gear demos, and those are the better selling games in the series by a wide margin. It's really a shame that a lot of people picked up one of these games for a demo and never touched the actual fucking game they paid money for, because they're actually really damn good. So without further ado, let's take a look at Zone of the Enders, the Second Runner. Second Runner is the 2003 sequel to 2001's glorified Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, Zone of the Enders. If you couldn't figure that out with a quick Google search, you should probably take some computer lessons. I don't even know how to introduce this game because it's such an anomaly. Second Runner should have been a surefire hit. The first game had respectable sales and was received well by critics and gamers alike. Well, those who didn't just play the demo and then put the game down anyways. So you'd think that a sequel that refines and improves on the first in every way would do very well. Unfortunately, Second Runner only managed to sell a little over half the amount of units the first game did. And that's a damn shame because Second Runner is so good that I can tell you a game about robots with dicks is badass and keep a straight face. Yeah, they have dicks, don't ask. Now I could sit here all day spewing history lessons and telling you this game is fantastic, or I could just show you. Second Runner is a fast-paced action game that kicks ass. This game is fucking smooth. Like cherry Dr. Pepper smooth. Don't worry, Doctor. Nobody will replace you. Not ever. The controls are tight as hell, zipping around feels fast and responsive, and it feels really satisfying to rush through a group of enemies, picking them off one by one. You have one main attack button that performs your basic ranged and sword attacks. Your distance from the enemy, boosting and burst charging all determine what sort of attack you'll do. You also have another button for secondary attacks like grabs and sub-weapons. Combat seems deceptively simple at first, but new enemies and enemy formations encountered throughout the game really require you to mix it up. New sub-weapons are required at a steady pace throughout the game as well, giving a steady sense of progression and growth. Boss design is also noteworthy as the bosses are definitely some of the highlights of the game. They all sort of have a different flavor and feel, reminiscent of Kojima Productions' previous work on the Metal Gear titles. It's also really neat how the Vic Viper from Gradius was reimagined as a boss for this game. I thought it was a nice touch. It's also a little saddening because it reminds me that modern Konami would just reimagine the Vic Viper as a pachinko machine. Oh, wait. The slot game was actually made for Gradius back in 2011? What the fuck, Konami? Presentation is also phenomenal. The in-game models are detailed really well, textures and lighting are great, and the game is full of subtle details such as the lights on your frame changing color when you get low in health. However, it's the cinematics and the soundtrack that really bring the production value to the next level. The cinematics are done in an anime style, which is a hell of a lot more appealing than the terrifying FMV the first game used. Like, good god, guys, you thought that was passable? Animation is smooth and expressive. It'd be good enough to please even the pickiest of animation snobs. There's obviously a lot of effort put into making every frame look its best. The soundtrack is just as good. Beyond the Bounds is fucking beautiful, and the Vic Viper theme is also really damn catchy. Sound design really complements the visual style, being just as equally anime-inspired. However, not every game can be perfect, and this game has a few pretty glaring issues. First off, the game's not terribly long, clocking in only about 7 to 8 hours. I understand that's pretty average for the action genre, but Second Runner lacks the weapon variety and sense of experimentation with different playstyles that makes games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta so replayable. It's not a big issue, but it's worth noting that most people will have seen and done everything the game has to offer in one playthrough. The biggest weakness by far is the writing and acting. The conversations here sound so unnatural, and line delivery sounds really stilted.
No problem then. Give me the program now.
Just as I thought, you were trying to revolt against Norman.
Revolt? No, I'll just fight. In the final 30 seconds, Henry G trashed out from Field Out.
Going back. Going back. Going.
Shut up!
You'd better come back. It'll be fun from now on.
You can't deceive me with beautiful words like freedom and independence anymore!
By the way, what's your mission anyway?
Enemy approaching!
Well, see you later!
You devil! Dingo!
Come back. I like you.
I'll cut the actress some slack, as it would be really hard to make this script actually work. The localization team really needed to take a less literal approach when translating the dialogue. It doesn't help that what's actually going on in the story isn't explained very well either. The antagonist is a dick seemingly just to be a dick, and what the fuck Metatron is never really explained. Thankfully, the game's not too cutscene heavy, or at least when comparing it to the team's other work in Metal Gear, and the animation is good enough to make the cutscenes enjoyable, despite the nonsensical nature of them. So as bad as the writing and the acting is, it's not overly distracting, and it's not really why you'd play this game anyways. It's an action game through and through, and on that it delivers. It really is a shame that Second Runner never got the attention it really deserved. It has all the right components to be an absolute classic. From the moment you boot up the game, it's very clear that the team behind it had a clear vision of what they wanted Second Runner to be. It's a fast-paced mecha anime-inspired action title to contrast with Metal Gear's slower-paced stealth gameplay and Western-style presentation. These two should have been sister franchises, yin and yang. As much as I love Metal Gear Rising, I'll also admit that it would have been much more fitting to have a Zone of the Enders game in its place. Luckily, Second Runner did see a sort of resurgence when the HD collection came out. Hell, that's how I found out about it. But now it's in this weird place where there's too much critical acclaim for it to be considered a cult classic, but not enough popularity for it to be remembered fondly by the masses. But we can change that. We can break the cycle. We must go beyond the bounds.